Welcome to the story, or welcome to the show, ladies and germs. We are goofing off here for a little while anyway. I'm going to hand it over to D here for a second. Ladies and germs, listen to D do his thing.
What's going on, everybody? Brains. This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You have to be 21 and over here to be here. If not, you have to leave. Back to you, Mr. Fumi.
That's perfect timing. Thank you, D. Except for bad timing, because I realize now that I'm not logged into the right account. All right, it's going to take me a second here. In the
Womp
meantime, though,
womp.
ladies and gentlemen, exactly, I'm always in the wrong fucking account. Well, I got to have like fucking 10 accounts now because of the goddamn trolls.
Yep.
Ah, what can you do? We are on Fumidoro. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna log into Fumidoro. We're gonna do that. And I forgot that this phone is not shielded, so it's gonna go anytime the phone does any phone things. Here we go. Boom. All right, there we go. The
Wow,
videos,
Cremor.
video is paused. Here we go. Welcome, ladies and germs. Welcome, Crime War. Looks like you're first to chat, as always, almost as always. Dead Fish fans in the house. Number two, Southern Vermont Vintage. Welcome to the show. Poor Pizza Dave already hanging with us. Welcome, guys.
Right
Thanks
on.
very much for joining us, boys and girls. So I'm thinking about we might do what I talked about the other day. Namely, we'll do like the first part of the show for, I don't know, like an hour or something, and then basically take off to Fumes of Gold for the after party. What do you think, D? Or is that a pain in the
Sure.
ass?
Sounds
All right,
good.
let's do that. That'll basically help, first of all, spread the risk around for these channels. It's kind of a big, actually, I didn't finish my sentence there. Uh, Folks, if you're annoyed that I have like five different channels now, I really can't blame you. I feel the exact same fucking way. The problem is basically we just have to kind of keep kind of chasing our tails, honestly, until we find some way to avoid the trolls and the trolling and stuff. I was thinking about going to Twitch the other day. That didn't honestly go that well. We can try it again one of these days because a bunch of people have been saying, "Oh, Fumi, you should go to Twitch." Da, 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 da. Maybe we could do that. But in the meantime, yeah, what can you do? So, ladies and germs, please do subscribe to not only this channel. If you're not subscribed, please do. Please do subscribe to the main channel. I do hope to bring it back. It's currently just basically waiting until one of the strikes expires. I even honestly hate to say that as explicitly as I said it just now, because you never know who's actually waiting in the wings, just waiting to snipe my fucking channel again. It's nutty. Honestly, that main channel has been offline for about 6 or 8 months now. It's really crazy because of strikes and fucking this and that and the other thing. Like, let us fucking have our channels, honestly. Anyway, but in the meantime, because of these fucking trolls that really don't know how to leave well enough alone, ladies and germs, please do subscribe to Fumes of Gold. That's my other channel, as well as Dank Culture Collective. Dank Culture Collective, I haven't actually, thank you, D, haven't actually broadcast any videos yet. I should do that one of these days. But Fumes of Gold, we've been broadcasting a couple, three videos here, there. Apparently, Smash lost all his links. Let me post the link here in just a second, folks. Good reminder. If you do, so just like Smash kind of was hinting at, if you have been in on the show before, and unlike with Smash, it's not his fault. Like the fucking Zoom probably updated and then basically signed him out of stuff, and it's just super annoying. Anyway, but if that has not happened to you, or if you have updated, more recent, I don't know, a while ago or something, you can basically just scroll through your Zoom meetings and find Fumidor's private meeting or whatever, and basically that'll log you in. In the meantime, though, there's the link, folks. So you can hit that right there. That's the way to do it. Pin. Oh, I was actually able to pin it finally. I didn't have to reload the chat or anything. Meantime, D is beckoning you like a siren of the ancient Greek Isles. I promise thee, thou shalt not turn into stone. I don't know. I'm talking like Crusader now. But in the meantime, ladies and germs, do join us. It's going to be super fun. Fuck Chaz. I think it does. Stupid excuse. I just honestly couldn't get to the post office the last couple days. So I hope it's gonna work on Monday. My apologies. Cheers, Smash. Good to see you by the way. Let's see here. Al Telescope Uranus is in the house. What's going on, buddy? Who else in here? Greenfingers hanging already with us. Speaking of Chasmanian Devil, good to see you, buddy. Ned Kelly's in the house. What's going on, Ned Kelly? Welcome, folks. Do hit the link there. It's, of course, takeover night, but it's going to be a little bit different, I guess, because if I am going to basically bounce the show to the next thing or whatever, but bounce it to the next channel, then I have to be around here. So I guess maybe it'll be a semi takeover for this first hour or something, and then the second part we can totally let the take over. In the meantime, though, ladies and germs, actually, it doesn't affect you. That which channel it's on doesn't really affect you if you join the Zoom room. So if you guys, unless it would affect you if you follow the chat. Some people follow the chat, but if you're on your phone or something, it's kind of hard to follow the chat. If you join the Zoom room, you'll basically follow us wherever, whichever YouTube live stream we go to. But obviously, if you're on the in the YouTube chat, you'll have to follow us to the other channel, whatever. Hopefully, it won't be too complicated, ladies and germs. Like I said, it basically will help us spread the risk around, and it'll also help, hopefully, build the other channel a little bit. If you guys want to, hang out like we normally do, we're gonna have to do it that way because we're at the mercy, basically, of the next time that this channel gets a strike, and then all of a sudden it's offline for 1 or 2 weeks, depending on how many strikes is currently on the freaking docket. And then we have to go to the next channel. So it's really musical chairs. So, folks, help me rather. I don't know why I keep talking about the royal we, but I guess, think about all these people as collaborators, colleagues, stuff like that. Anyway, folks, help our chats, I guess, continue. And please do subscribe to all those channels. Please do tell your friends about all those channels. And of course, yeah, please watch all those channels. It would really be helpful if you did. But hit the alarm bell basically because with the amount of channels I have now, you're never going to really know probably when we're going live. So make sure to hit the alarm bell so that you actually do see that we actually are going live, and then you can tune in, and join us, and all that kind of stuff. Jasmine Devil's watching Jim on a laptop. If you meet her on the phone, Saturday nights are busy. Right on, Chaz. I guess I should keep my mouth shut on that comment I was just about to make. In the meantime, D, good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the show. What's the good word, buddy?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, chat? Don't forget live chat, top chat, or actually the other way around, top chat, live chat. That's probably be way better to do. Everybody had a great week. I just got a order delivery from my delivery company. I got some Candy Kush. What else is going on? Oh yeah, don't forget I do go live as well. So don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell to get all notifications when I go live at dzombie underscore 745 on YouTube. Also find me on Instagram at dzombie underscore d underscore zombie underscore. Um, yeah, cheers to all the chat. Cheers to all you lurkers in the background, smoking a joint, hitting the bong, doing a dab and some work. Hope everybody's having a great day, night, whatever you are. Cheers.
Yeah, man. Cheers, man.
Morning.
Cheers, Kevin.
Morning, Cap.
It's morning time.
Wake and bake time.
Yeah, that would be something if I actually just kind of woke up, but that was like 5 hours ago. just take it this way. I continuously bake.
That's it.
Nice.
There it is. Constant bake. All day bake. It's a 24/7 bake, really, is what it is. It's not a wake and bake. It's a 24/7 bake.
Always fresh and baked.
It's it. Always ready,
Bake
always
at,
baked.
bake at 420 degrees for 24/7.
That's it. That's exactly it right there. For seven, no, for seven, it doesn't exactly work. There's only really 7 days. I'm trying to let's say like
About
7, 10 days, but it doesn't work
seven
exactly.
ten. Yeah, yeah.
7 hours and 10 days. It sounds like a Sinead O'Connor song or something. What's going on, Smash? What's the good word?
No, I'm just hanging out, man. Wait,
Nice.
we're supposed to be getting a snow.
Oh, right on. We're laughing at Captain.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
have to laugh at that.
Nope, we're not getting it.
What about snow?
Yeah, I'm gonna be back in it, and it's gonna suck.
We were just talking about him, Chasmanian. How funny. I was just talking to D about him before the show. Ozzy CC. He's still around. He's doing his show on his own channel. He has one video that's got like 4 or 5 million views with the kangaroo. If you guys haven't seen it, you should go see it. But he's got his own channel. It's Ozzy CC. Go look it up. He does like lectures and stuff. Well, I guess you could call it a lecture from time to time. Somewhat rarely. He said that he's been meaning to come on the show. Maybe we should just invite him back one of these days. Kind of,
Yeah.
like it's kind of weird hours. We really don't have too many Aussies tuning in anymore. We need to get some more back. We used to have so many. But it is really weird hours. It's like I don't even remember. It's like early in the morning or something. Well, I guess it's the same hours as
Yeah,
you,
it's
Captain.
no,
Yeah.
it's a couple hours before me, so
Oh,
if I join here at 10 o'clock, then
Pretty early.
they're at like 6.
Huh. Makes sense. Wow.
Yeah. 5, 6
Crazy
o'clock in
nuggets.
the morning. That's pretty tough. That's why I noticed later in our shows when we run them a little bit longer, we catch those people over in Europe.
That's true.
And we do
So
have Aussies that do come in still in the chat.
In the chat for
So,
sure, but not too many on the show.
later on.
Go ahead, Smash.
It's saying it's 2:15 p.m. in Australia.
Oh wow, really? Oh, not you, Siri.
Well,
Oh.
Canberra, ACT, Australia.
could
I
be.
think
Oh, that's part of it. Australia is pretty big, so it crosses a couple different time zones.
Yeah, they have like 2 or 3 different time zones or something.
Still.
1 or 2
But
or
still, it's in the afternoon.
something. 2:15 in the afternoon, like Kelly says. There's an Aussie right there.
Yeah.
Good day, mate.
There it is.
Crikey.
Still is surreal that
So
we
I
have this like
was-
international show, isn't it? Go ahead, Captain.
So I was right. It was about 4 hours difference, just the wrong way.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's what I needed, a tip.
Just
Just
the
the
tip.
Nasty.
Hey, I've got jokes about that and Thai girls, so don't say anything more.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
Oh yeah, I gotta check my weather. I want to see if we're getting snow. I hope not.
It's a big storm coming through.
Well, I hopefully it just stays there in Maine.
God damn it.
yeah, I was having a hard time deciding, sitting out here in front of my house if I was actually going to put socks on with the shorts or not.
Wow.
No socks.
When are you heading back to the States, Captain?
March. I'll be back for a little bit. It's gonna suck. March in
because it's
Ohio
cold?
sucks.
I got you.
Yeah. Well, my mom also moved. She moved like 3 miles away from the fucking house, our old house. But she moved up on top of the hill where it snows. Where we were at, we just got ice from the lake. We were that close. So now she's 4.5 miles from the lake and up on top of the hill, and that's where all the snow dumps.
That's annoying.
I am just so glad that she's realized that it's easier to pay someone to plow the driveway than actually do it, because she's got a big driveway now. The last time I was there, I bought that.
Did you hear what
big
Captain said
truck.
about your mama? He said she has a big driveway.
I pulled that big truck into the driveway and I went to stop and I slid all the way down the hill.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a good thing I got 4-wheel drive because I needed it to get out of it. Yeah, we'll be putting that car up for auction when I get back.
Just gonna say, a friend of mine lives up in the hills up in Portland. We had like an ice storm recently, and I guess everything was just frozen, just completely solid, like laminated in ice. So everybody was just slipping and sliding. Poor dogs couldn't go outside. It was just rough time. I guess that's a pun there. But in the meantime, like dogs were slipping and sliding. They couldn't go outside. They couldn't do anything. You know what I mean?
I sent you 2 videos. One of a dude like skiing.
That's
and
right. That's right. Yeah, it was really happening.
Rough. Just like your mother likes it, Trebek.
Nice. On that note, hop on, Bingus, hop on, folks. Come join the conversation. Come on.
I leave tomorrow night.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So,
right on.
That's right. It is tomorrow. Holy cannoli.
That's exciting, dude.
Right?
Yep.
We're gonna have fun.
Can't wait.
And on the road again.
I can't wait to be in like nice weather for a little bit.
So apparently, I was just saying in chat, we're supposed to get a high of 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, so it's supposed to snow all day Sunday into Monday morning here.
Is that 4 Canadian and 4 US?
4 Canadian.
There's a big difference.
Well, I don't believe. I'll believe the weather when I see it myself. I don't believe the Weather Channel.
I can't. Yeah, I'm hoping my
Those
plane
lying
gets a
liars at the
little
Weather
rain.
Channel.
But it says Boston's only like it's funny. Where I live, it's saying like 3 to 7 inches. In Boston, it's saying 1 to 3 inches.
Wow, really, Chaz? Canadian?
Yeah, those ice fishing.
Oh, yeah. It's been too warm here. Literally too warm here for putting huts on the ice here.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
60 degrees here. Bingus, was it warm where you were? Today it was, I think it's still, what's the temperature right now?
Yeah, it's my son's a FedEx driver, and he was telling me that the upper roads up on the hills still ice is melting. I mean, it's
Really? Wow.
yeah, that's how thick.
Hmm.
Like he said, everything was in envelope with like
Wow.
2 inches of ice. I mean, it was
Hmm.
yeah, stormy weather everywhere. I noticed.
Hmm.
How you guys doing?
All right. What's going on, Bingus?
Took some RFO. Try to
Oh,
sleep all day tomorrow and then wake up at night and then fly out.
Why are you trying to sleep all day?
So I don't have to sleep when I get there.
Okay.
maximize the fun.
How long is your trip, by the way?
What do you mean? Like, how long am I
Well,
staying?
Vegas from Boston is only 4 hours,
It's
five
like
hours.
a 6 hour flight.
Okay, so you don't have a bad layover.
That's crazy.
I got a 30-minute layover in New York, and then
Hey,
on my way back, I got like a hour, half hour to an hour layover in LA.
Hmm.
don't get
Yeah,
mugged.
that's nothing. I mean, when I was flying and trying to figure out how to get back home and everything from out there, they were talking like 8, 9 hour layover, and it's like, what the fuck?
Hmm.
I don't want to be stuck at Las Vegas airport for like 8, 9 hours.
Yeah, right.
Play this. You can play the slot machine. So
Well, actually, now I know my oldest and best friend is back in Las Vegas. I'll just call him up because he teaches at the university there, so he's right out by the airport.
nice.
And I'll finally get to see his daughters.
I think I'm meeting up with Ty when I go out there.
Tie stick.
With who?
Yeah,
He's a
I'm
good
sorry,
dude.
with who?
Ty Stick.
I don't know.
Ty, Las Vegas Ty, he has a couple different channels. He's a very good tester
Hmm.
for me. That's a guy you want on
Look
your
him up.
team. Seriously.
Oh, speaking of, I'll repost that. Where'd it go?
He
Las
does a very
Vegas
good
Tie.
he does a very good job of
He does some good bubble hash.
Yeah, on YouTube or Instagram?
Instagram.
Instagram.
Does very good documentation is what I'm trying to say. Fun.
Hmm.
Anyway. He ran some of my stuff. I was very pleased. I was like, wow, you're actually doing what a tester should do. Thank you.
Yeah, isn't that like amazing when people actually do something like that?
It is. He does a good job too. So
I've got one tester that he just, I mean, the way he writes is almost like poetry. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna use this.
it's rare. It's rare.
Good testers in general are extremely rare. I think
Yes.
the future of testing is not bright, honestly.
No.
I think
No.
that basically, yeah, I have to be honest. I think this is probably going to be my last testing round. It's hard to find testers. It's hard to get them to do very much. I think maybe I will continue with specific testers because those people I can send seeds and they'll grow them. But it's incredibly challenging to find new people. Every time I ask for new testers, I might get two new people in a week. Mind you, these are people that you're going to send free seeds to, and if they do a halfway decent job growing it, literally a halfway decent job growing them, they'll get free seeds for the rest of their fucking lives as long as I'm making seeds. So it seems like a good deal, right? But it still is hard to find people. And then hard to actually get them to, grow the stuff in a timely manner. Then you have people who have a wide variety of interpretations of what it is to be a tester, none of which are necessarily wrong, right? Like, for example, Eagle. Like, I could never in 100 years use Eagle as a tester, not in 100 fucking years, because Eagle insists, like morally, he insists that to test a strain properly, you have to grow it 4 or 5 or 6 times over 2 years, on and on and on. And I'm just like,
No.
that's useless. That's completely useless information. Yeah, I mean, like 2 years from now, I'll be on something completely different, and it'll be gratifying information to know that yes, indeed, you enjoyed the strain, but it doesn't help you in a breeding thing. Like we grow old too fast as human beings for that kind of thing to be useful. It's ironic because it's not bad information. You know what I mean? Like Eagle's
No.
not wrong, right? So like actually everything about what he says is correct. It's just that the realities of the entire cannabis, it doesn't even have to be the cannabis market, the cannabis scene. Like you have to be really just creating stuff constantly on the regular. And if you're basically working something deep into the line for 3 or 4 years, nobody's going to want it. Honestly, nobody cares.
Unless
I
you're
mean,
into
you're
growing.
not disagreeing. You're agreeing. I think that's the reality of it. It's kind of a sad reality, but it
Well,
is.
unless you're into, they're not going to stick with it, because they're looking to learn how they can be how they can succeed, right?
Mm.
And so it's, everybody wants to be important. Everybody wants to have that one strain that they're responsible for. And so I think a lot of testers kind of have that mindset. Let me jump in and see if I can make a victory for myself.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I think it's just human nature. I mean, and so to find like Eagle, like the way
Excellent.
he
Well,
does it, the way that he does it, you're right. It's not very useful for immediate gratification, but over the long run, right? It's not too bad to have one guy like that. It's just not an easy freaking deal.
Hmm.
You get input
Hmm.
that you can use. I mean, I'm sure you'd agree with that. I mean, you can get the basics like, okay, it's sprouted, how many sprouted, and some of that stuff. But then all of a sudden it starts going into these weird areas where you're like, wait a minute, I didn't, let's go back here. And
But
what happened
I
there?
try to get people to like. I'm just like, go send pictures because if they're sending pictures, I can just talk to them.
That's true. But there's
I've got, I've got one guy that what he does, and I had to tell him, listen, you're not getting any more testers. I sent him testers, and he does a great job of growing them out. The phenos that he likes do a great job. It's not like, no, dude, you have to grow them all out, not just the ones you like.
Oh, that's a very common grower thing. They pick their
Oh
favorite
my
early
God.
and they coddle that favorite. And so that favorite, they might fuck it up and then that becomes a really tragic thing at the end. I've seen that. But basically they'll treat that one plant super well and ignore everything else in the garden and they'll just assume that that's the winner. That happens with testers too. Actually,
Yep.
happens
Yep.
with testers too.
It's
It's hard to resist that temptation. It's hard to resist having a favorite in life. You know what I mean? People are always like, "Oh, do you have a favorite kid or a favorite pet or whatever else?" Generally, you do, and most of the time, people try to try to avoid showing that they have a favorite kid or sibling or whatever. But realistically, people do, and you very palpably treat them differently, including the plants. You'll water it more assiduously. You'll prune it more assiduously. You'll feed it more assiduously. Everything, you know what I mean? That plant won't get bugs because you're constantly looking at that plant, you know? Meanwhile, the one in the corner that you ignored, oh, it's covered in aphids and whatever because you ignored it for 3 weeks. Yeah.
Human nature.
Yeah.
What are your requirements? So what are your basic requirements?
For being a tester?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, you have to know how to grow. That's the first thing. But realistically, I like all kinds of information. I mean, one must, I guess that's a reasonable question. One must send me pictures. So the most useful information, like Smash said, is pictures.
Yep, I agree with that.
Did you freeze? You froze. Oh, darn it. But everybody has a different expectation as well as kind of getting.
Just send me a picture every week.
For me, there he is.
That's all I need is a picture every week.
I love taking
Maybe-
pictures of our plants as they grow.
Maybe put a tape measure next to it or something. I don't know.
At least show your hand, you know what I mean?
So I popped all the seeds I made, a little of each cross. The papaya rum cake cross actually pops rather quickly. It wants to get out of that shell. But the apple fritter and the chem dog took like 2 days to come out.
Sorry, I thought I was muted when I was testing just there.
You were saying.
I don't know why my audio keeps cutting out. It's the weirdest fucking thing. Anyway, back to you guys.
No, I want to hear what your requirements are, brother.
Oh, how do I say it? You must show pictures, but other than that, I don't have too many requirements, to be perfectly honest, because the majority of how do I say it? Honestly, every grow environment is useful information. So, for example, if people grow organically, that's useful information, but I grow organically. So that's going to be a little bit less useful than to see how everybody grows. You know, everybody basically grows in a very different way. Even if you grow, let's say organically, you're probably going to grow differently. Some people in super soil, some people in amended soil, some people in build-a-soil soil, whatever, right? All of those are going to have slightly different expressions. The cocoa flower is going to have slightly different expression. I used to have a tester a couple of years ago. I think he's actually stopped growing, believe it or not. But he grew in full-on NFT tables, like just like NASA hydroponics. You know what I mean? And that was super interesting. That was unlike anything that anyone else was growing with. So realistically, you can grow in any different style. You can be a variety of different skill levels. That's useful too. I've had everything from fairly beginner growers, not really beginner growers because beginners have a lot of problems growing, right? Like it's just like a beginner driver, right? Like you basically you're trying to make sure that no one crashes into you, and you're so preoccupied with the basics of things that you can't really get a good expression. So most of the time, I really ask that people are semi-experienced at growing already. You know, like you need to be able to kind of as a second nature thing complete a harvest. So if you are not able to, like if you flip to flower today and you're not sure that you're going to make it in 2 months, I probably can't use you as a tester. But if you know that you're going to make it, even if you limp to completion like a freaking marathon runner, just barely squeak into the freaking finish line, that's fine because that's still useful information. You know what I mean? So not a huge amount of requirements, to be perfectly frank. You just have to have constant contact, not constant contact, but good contact. Again, it doesn't have to be constant, but once or twice a week, or even every couple of weeks is good information. That's a good amount of information. Once a month is too little, so definitely like at least a couple times a month would be good, preferably especially later in flower. Maybe once a week would be awesome, and definitely a few pictures, because otherwise it's kind of useless. You know, people try to describe things in all kinds of ways. You know, if you ever looked at like eyewitness testimony, people describe things in the craziest fucking ways, right? And so, long story short, a picture is worth 1,000 fucking words with testing. And then not only that, but you can repost pictures. You can't really repost somebody's private comments because, you know, with testers, sometimes you'll have a person that is a private tester and they don't want their information going out there. They don't have an Instagram or whatever else, but they'll still send you. I've had plenty of those. They'll still send you pictures that you can use to post to Instagram or something, right? So that's definitely something. And you know, so again, you don't have to have social media to be a tester. There's plenty of people who've just emailed me pictures. A lot of people, I hate to say it, have the kind of I don't know, the narcissism, I guess, of social media, that they want to take the credit for the pictures, which of course I couldn't possibly blame them for. And so a lot of people end up just setting up an Instagram, which, these days most people just have one. But it's understandable if you're in a less than legal place, let's say, or if you have family circumstances that are awkward or challenging, you have to be careful, you have to take precautions. So yeah, I try not to discriminate on those people. So I don't know. What about you?
And
I
then,
think those are pretty reasonable. Go ahead, Cap.
but then you also have the other side that, send testers to, and the next thing you know, or you give them clones and say, hey, don't give this out. They're coming out with their own seed line.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I hate to
Yeah.
say it, but I'm not going to tell you I told you so, but you gave those lines to a couple of people who never should have had them. And I'm surprised to this day that those people still have friends in the cannabis scene. It really surprises me, honestly. Some other YouTube channels, they, I think, even know about some of these shysters, but they're still fine with it. It's cannabis is weird.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of, you guys ever seen the show Deadwood? It was like an HBO show a bunch of years ago.
I love
One of
that
my
show.
favorite characters. Oh, it was a great fucking show, right? The characters in that show were amazing. Well,
Yeah.
one of my favorite characters, who I would never want to meet in real life, was Swedgen, Al Swearingen. You remember him? Played by what was that fucking guy's name? He guys has the voice of
Oh, yeah.
a demon on his, an incredible voice. What was his freaking
I can't. What was his character? I forget.
He was the
Swearingen? He's the guy
bar
that
owner.
he ran
Okay,
the
gotcha,
bar and
gotcha. Yeah,
murdered
I,
many
I
people
would
and
I'd probably get along with him just fine. He sounds like my type
Now,
of gangster.
By the way, Al Swearingen was a real guy. He was born on July 8th, 1845, died on November 15th, 1904. He was an American pimp and entertainment entrepreneur who ran the Gem Theater, a notorious brothel in Deadwood, South Dakota, for 22 years during the late 19th century. He was a real guy.
So some
Sounds
truth. There's some truth to that series.
Fucking
That's
crazy
awesome.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
so let me just ask this. That's that old the old cowboy show, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't that old. Basically it was a show
Oh,
about the gold rush in Deadwood.
Yeah.
It
yeah,
was
it wasn't that old, but I mean, it was from back in the
10
day,
years
like
ago.
close to.
Here we go.
I think it's worth a rerun myself. I'm gonna have to bring that up. I think.
Oh, it was a great show. It's
Excuse
this
me,
character right
Yeah.
here.
New episode. Sorry.
I put that
That guy.
Instagram in our
yeah.
chat.
I'm sorry, you did what?
Remember the guy Ty Las Vegas we were talking
Oh,
about? I
thank
put
you.
his
Oh.
Instagram in the chat for you.
Right on.
Cool.
Oh, now I see it. Thank you.
I am trying to find.
He's been in a lot of different. Since
Yeah,
I've watched
everyone.
that, I've seen him in a lot of different other
Right on.
movies and stuff. Great actor.
Yeah. What is his name?
I like Deadwood. Deadwood was.
He was in
There he is. I found him.
I really like Power.
John Wick.
Has anyone watched the?
Ian McShane. There we go.
Ian McShane.
Sorry, Smash, you cut out a little bit. Holy
Has
shit, he's
anyone
81
watched
now.
the Bear, the restaurant
A
series?
few episodes, yeah. I have to be honest, I kind of fell off of it. Not because I didn't like it, I just kind of lost track and I was busy and
I
stuff.
kinda
But
wanna
yeah, I
check it
enjoyed
out.
it. Yeah, it was a fun show. People make fun of it a lot because the actors obviously, ironically, never ever worked in restaurants. So it's a show about restaurants and cooking and stuff. And historically, most actors are waiters working, fucking restaurants and
At
stuff.
some
But none
point.
of those guys ever worked in the kitchen. You can tell, like it's just fucking hilarious. None of them have any knife skills or anything. Anyway. Holy shit. I was going to say Ian McShane has the voice of like Satan. Sure enough, he played Satan. Look at this. This is Ian McShane as Satan in 1963.
Wow, he's
Crazy.
looks
Fucking
different.
nuts. Yeah. Nuts as fuck. Anyway. Oh, you know who looks different too is here. Okay, now I can't think of anybody's name anymore.
I can't wait. Man, this is gonna be so fun.
You've been planning this for a while.
I know.
Yeah.
2 months. And the thing is,
Cool.
the Super Bowl's next weekend, which go Lions, go Detroit.
Who are they playing?
Detroit's playing the 49ers.
Uh,
No. Wait. Detroit's
What
playing the
about
Green
49ers.
Bay.
Ravens are playing the Chiefs.
what about the Packers? Are they out
They're
now?
out. Yeah,
Oh,
they're
okay.
out.
Okay, yeah, then go Detroit.
Michael Caine.
Fuck the 49ers. They win too much anyway.
The Chiefs too are in it, and the Chiefs have won the last couple of years.
I
They
Go
just-
predict.
Chiefs.
I
like the
predict
Chiefs.
I predict Niners Chiefs in the playoff myself. We'll see.
I got
But that's
Lions.
the case, they go Chiefs for that.
They're both pretty good.
Well, if you look at the records,
Dang.
they're very close.
Kansas City. That's my
But they got
favorite.
so like imagine this for the NFL script. Super Bowl, whatever it is, 49 or sorry, the Chiefs with Taylor Swift versus the Detroit Lions with Eminem. That'd be one of the biggest Super Bowls ever.
I don't know what the fuck's going on with my
Eminem's already
goddamn
performed.
audio. You were saying Taylor Swift and who?
So
Eminem.
Eminem was at the Detroit Lions game the other day, and he was like hyping the crowd up and shit.
He's from Detroit.
I don't think Taylor Swift needs it. Basically, the acts do it for free. A lot of people don't know that they don't get paid for it. They actually do it for free, and they put on the whole show pretty much at their own expense.
I don't know who's going to actually perform.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I don't actually know who's performing this year.
Oh, I don't have the slightest fucking idea.
But obviously,
last year was
Taylor's
Rihanna.
Is that Wookiee?
like,
Yeah, what the fuck is that
Taylor's
sound?
dating that dude from the Chiefs.
I had a Wookiee.
If they're in it, she's going to be there.
What the
Is
fuck?
that you, D?
That was me
Yeah.
like when the first time I wasn't.
That's a weird sound.
Your Zoom, just ghost or something or
I
goblins in
know,
your
right?
me.
I'd like to figure out what the fuck is going on with my
Do you,
goddamn sound
hey,
here.
Fumi, do you have the gateway modem, the new modem from Xfinity, or is that your
No,
provider?
no, I don't think it's the modem. I mean, honestly, I do
I
have
got-
kind of
I-
shitty internet. Sorry.
I got the gateway modem. I just upgraded it, and it's really improved the speed of my
Oh,
internet.
right on.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm wondering because I think with these, what they're doing, like to Google and some of these interfaces, it's weighting it down. It's requiring more bandwidth to make shit happen. But I noticed immediately, I was like, wow, things are snappy again.
Oh.
Right. And
Nice.
so if you have, I mean, I had that modem for years and it was a piece of shit. Now that I switched out, I realized that just a possibility is what I'm saying.
Yeah, good thought.
I think I have fiber. I think we have fiber. Like fiber optics from
But
Verizon.
it's still based upon what your router can handle.
Well, yeah,
Because
but
I have
when you
fiber
buy
here.
I think. I mean, I get gigabyte download speed sometimes too.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it depends on what you buy. I don't have the 1 gig. Mine's like 780. But even at 780, I really don't have a problem. None of my movies buffer.
You know, I think as long as you're using dongs to pay for shit, but you're never gonna have a problem with anything. You're gonna have a lot of dongs to pay as well.
My
dongs to the dollar.
cable, my cable is I've got a 1 gigabyte download and upload is 780.
Shit, that's fine.
And I pay $27 a month. I literally pay more for my home internet than I do my 2 cell phones a month.
We have it
Yeah.
all bundled together. Well, we don't have like Verizon phones or anything, but we got the Verizon TV, which is awesome because when the pandemic happened, they were just releasing stuff. We could just literally buy it on Verizon and watch the brand new movie that came out.
Hmm.
Verizon has my mom's worked with them for a long time, but they got a lot of the market kind of like corner.
Lockdown. Yeah, lockdown.
Like if you get a Verizon deal, you get like
Everything.
ESPN subscription, Hulu subscription, and like a Disney Plus subscription.
Gem Theater.
Oh, I gotta find my SIM
Swedgen's
card.
place.
Deadwood.
It's kind of funny in the show, the Chinese what was the guy's name? I can't think of it. Anyway, the head Chinese the head of the Chinese community, I guess you could call him. I don't know. He would call Swearingen Swedgen. Swedgen.
Who's Pat Marino?
Right. Apparently Swearingen opened the Gem Theater on April 7th, 1877. What's that sound? Is that you, Captain? That was Captain. At the corners of Wall and Main Streets to entertain the population of the mining camp with prize fights, as was customary with Swearingen's previous establishment, the Cricket Saloon. No prizes were actually involved. Stage acts consisting of comedians, singers, and dancers, and primarily prostitutes. Gambling was a main theme at the Gem, as was the Gem Band, which played nightly from the balcony as a form of advertising. Swedgen recruited his prostitutes by advertising legitimate stage, cleaning, or waitressing jobs in his theater to desperate young women and advancing them the money for their one-way trip. Then, when they arrived, forcing them into what was essentially indentured servitude as prostitutes. Those who balked were first threatened with demands for repayment of the funds advanced for them to them for the trip. If that failed, they were threatened with beatings, and if that failed, they were beaten and physically forced to submit to Swearingen's demands. Many still resisted, but those who escaped this fate could only find themselves in no better situation as penniless women with no source of income, alone in a rough and rowdy mining camp, and with the constant threat of Swearingen's men hanging over them. Many grew sick and died from the lack of proper nutrition and shelter, while many others committed suicide. The Gem prospered, bringing in an average of $5 grand a night, even reaching as high as $10 grand. Swearingen forged alliances with many of Deadwood's most prominent citizens, buying himself immunity from legal or other problems. His immunity even extended to the notoriously upright and incorruptible Marshal Seth Bullock. So apparently things were true stories, who did not have the political clout to extend his campaign to clean up the town as far as the lower regions of Main Street, which remained Swearingen's territory. So just like in the show, they had this uneasy alliance. The front of the Gem consisted of a bar, and the theater area in the back were the rooms for the prostitutes. I'm sorry, and the theater area in the back were the rooms for the prostitutes. Day-to-day operations were managed by Al Swearingen himself. Customers frequently brutalized the women, even to the point of killing them. The violence at the Gem was not confined to the prostitutes, with the saloon being a frequent site of gunfights between drunken patrons. And in one memorable instance, the memoirs of John S. McClintock reported a prostitute named Trixie, Trixie's a character in Deadwood, having shot a large hole through the skull of a man who astounded everyone by surviving for another half an hour. I think that was a fucking. Oh my God, the show was basically literally. So apparently, I'll just read the whole thing. The Gem was damaged by fire in the summer of 1879 and repaired, but then very soon destroyed in a major fire that devastated the town on September 26, 1879. Swearingen built an even larger and more grand establishment, reopening in December 1879 to adulation as the finest theater ever seen in Deadwood. In 1899, however, the Gem burned down again, and a broke Swearingen declined to rebuild and left for Colorado. Despite the Gem's history as Deadwood's longest living entertainment institution, its support by so many of the town powers over the years, and the glowing tributes in the press after the rebuilt Gem was unveiled. After its demise, it was reviled in the press as an evil institution and a town shame. It's kind of funny. I have a friend who lives in Deadwood, or right outside of Deadwood. Swearingen and the Gem are both portrayed in the HBO television show Deadwood from 2004 to 2006. Fuck, that was a long time ago. And Deadwood the movie in 2019, but in heavily modified form. The show's fictional Gem Saloon is already well established when the show begins in August 76, and in the movie, which takes place in 1889, it's implied that Swearingen dies due to liver failure in his bed upstairs in the saloon. The real Swearingen was murdered in Denver in 1904, and that he leaves the saloon to a former prostitute named Trixie. How fucking cool. Interesting.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, how do I stop?
So Trixie ended up with it. That's crazy.
What the hell? Why can't I stop the share?
That's interesting. I'm glad you read that. That's
right.
I'm definitely going to go watch it again now.
Oh, it was a great show. Unfortunately, it ended on a terrible note, so that's why they had to do the movie. I actually haven't seen the movie yet. I've been meaning to, and I just never get around to it. they thought they were approved for a fourth season, and at the last minute basically HBO pulled the plug on the show literally as they were filming like the last couple of episodes, and so they couldn't rewrite or anything. Like there was no time to do anything, so they literally made the show with the bad guy basically winning as kind of a cliffhanger, and then the show's over. So like this horrible rich asshole guy basically, like you just left such a bad taste in your mouth. You're like, what the fuck is this? So apparently they solved some of that in the movie that was gosh, more than 10 years later. Isn't that crazy?
Now everyone watches that Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I haven't watched an episode of it, but everything that people have described about it, it sounds to me like a country music soap opera. So I'm just
It
like, yeah,
looks like
pass.
it.
Yeah.
I haven't got it didn't catch me.
No.
It didn't bring me in. So I've tried a couple times to get into that. Mostly
Sorry.
women have introduced, it's like, hey, have you seen that? I'm like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, there's not enough action and shit going on to catch me or something. I don't know. I can tell some things are so
Apparently
well
Kevin Costner brands his family or something. I'm like, yeah, he literally brands them apparently.
Oh
like,
my goodness.
What, these people are cattle?
What's
a pass.
Nah. Yeah, see, that kind of goes against the grain.
Right. Certainly unusual.
Sorry. That noise, I had to order a bag, and that's what showed up. That was the motor scooter.
Nice.
How is it?
Oh, so it wasn't a Wookiee.
It's good. For $1.50 a gram, it's great.
Oh, wow. So mystery solved. That was a motorbike, not a Wookiee.
No.
What if it was a Wookiee on a motorbike?
He'd be asking me for the Death Star then.
That's awesome. What strain is that, Captain?
Chem dog.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh,
It'd
you know what,
be
Captain?
something if it was grown indoors.
Gavin, we got distracted when you were saying that you send out testers and people will basically like use you said that people will send out, you'll hand people clones, and then basically I lost track of my thought. I think I started talking about other shit at that point. When you handed out like a couple different clones, fuck, I'm not surprised the people that you handed out to immediately lied to your face, because in retrospect a lot of those people really were liars. And yeah, people like that, they're just waiting to get their fucking mitts on your stuff. It's a sad realization. Again, it's not your fault. I'm not making fun of you at all. It's like, Jesus, what is with these people? They probably could have gotten more over time if they had been honest with you and decent with you, but of course that's not how they think. They just basically grab, they just grab whatever they can.
And that's exactly what they did. Is each of them grabbed one thing or two things, and you would see a post as soon as they got on IG, and then it would disappear. Now it's been over a year since these people have got them, and there's seed packs out there. There's seeds being made with them by a collab of someone else. But
it's a shame, and I'm surprised that people are willing to buy those seeds. Actually, it's such basic bitch breeding too. They crack one thing that they got to another thing that they got. There's no breeding involved. It really is just pollen chucking. It can be exceptional seeds. I'm not saying that, but I mean, like, gosh, I really am surprised that those people do as well as they do. But I guess I don't know. That's the way the weed market is, really. Like the seed market is very hard to make a legitimate name in. It seems to be quite easy to just kind of fly by the seat of your pants, at least evidently so, right? It seems like it's easy to just fucking kind of wing it on some level, and a lot more difficult to do it at least what you think is properly. No, I don't know. I'm kind of babbling a little bit, but it's kind of annoying. As far as like the testers too, like I had the same experience, and I'm going to be a lot more cautious. You're right. I guess I didn't finish my thought there as I talk over you a little bit. I had some people immediately start breeding with my stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's not cool. But I realized, like, I guess I didn't tell them anything about it beforehand, so it's not like I can really be mad. I can be curbed a little bit, but You may well have, but it didn't occur to me. I wanted as many testers as I could get, and it didn't occur to me that some of them would immediately start cracking the stuff. It's cool if they first of all, it's cool if they ask you first, and if you say yes, then obviously, have at it. But it would be more respectful if they waited until, the thing was done testing and, maybe released or something before they started breeding with it or something. But no, they basically immediately try to undercut you in many circumstances. I think a lot of the time it's innocent, and I think in most of the cases it happened, because it happened a few times to me. In most cases, I think it was just innocent. I think people were just super excited about, getting something fun and breeding it to themselves. And as far as I know, they never ever sold it or anything like that. So realistically, it was just annoying, basically, more than anything else. It really didn't hurt me in some sense. So from that perspective, I was like, man, it's kind of annoying, and maybe I'll try to, tell people not to do that in the future, but it's not that much skin off my freaking nose. But it definitely happens to people, especially if you have something super rare or super interesting that people are really interested in, they'll just immediately rip
Yeah.
you off, and they don't give a fuck, Yeah.
Well, let's see how many different lemon G crosses and lemon G BXs come out of Michigan. Let's see how that works out.
Well, again, I don't
Okay.
know. Breeding is so how do you even explain this? Like, I wouldn't grow some random breeder who told me, I don't know, what kind of things am I interested in? I don't know. I've always been interested in Durban poison. Somebody walked by me and said, "Look, bro, I got a pack of Durban poison to knock your socks off." Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Like I'm not one of those people that will succumb to that pack of seeds. I'd have to know the breeder. I'd have to know their track record. I'd have to see some seeds from them. I'd have to see some of the growing experience. Basically, I'd have to see what those plants look like, because I just don't have time to waste my life on 4 to 6 months of growing some shitty plants that will potentially pollinate my other stuff because it's garbage, right? So like I'm very selective about seeds, and I can't imagine I'm the only one. I can't imagine that I'm just like the only person that gives a shit about his garden. I feel like most people are going to be a lot more selective. And so how are these people even getting rid of these seeds? Like, I wouldn't touch those seeds with your dirt. You know what I mean? It's fucking retarded. Ridiculous, I should say the word.
Well, the one person is taking a lemon G back to Ohio and getting 3,200 a pound for it, is what he's doing.
Well, I mean, that good for him, I guess. I mean, if you gave him the clone and he's making good money on the weed, that's part of
But
it,
don't
no?
go and give it to somebody else and give it out to other people, and all of a sudden decide, oh, you're going to make all these different seeds from it.
Hmm.
You
Some
know,
people
it's
are just
interesting.
honestly, go ahead, Bingus.
I was just going to say it's interesting because what we're talking about is just the current situation of humanity in general. All right. And
Fuck anybody over.
The moralistic aspect of what we used to adhere to is slowly fragmenting away. And
moralistic, you said it right there.
So, and again, I'm not trying, I don't want to get shut down again. So I don't want to get too deep into this, but it's obvious.
Some people have the feeling if you give them seeds, it's theirs to do whatever they want with.
Well, it's indicative of the situation that the whole world is in right now. People have been so separated that they are clawing at anything, stealing, lying, cheating, to say, hey, here I am. All right.
Yep.
Accept me. Right. They're going about it the wrong way, of course. Okay. But it's only because they're so separated that they can't find that unity principle cannabis actually brings to us through the endocannabinoid receptor system. So,
I mean, at first I wasn't with you, but then the more you talked, Bingus, I think you really quite won me over. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought just then. Somebody, the problem is somebody said Battlestar in the chat. I was like, oh shit, Starbuck. Fucking Chasmanian Devil. He said, I'm a sci-fi guy, The Expanse, Battlestar, all the old stuff too. Apparently they're thinking about making a Battlestar. No, I'm not even thinking about it. Apparently it's greenlit. A Battlestar a reboot apparently is coming. And it's made by the dude. Oh my goodness. I'm forgetting right now who the fuck did it. Oh, it's being made by somebody cool, actually. Pardon?
We're gonna have Xylons again.
Cylons, probably. Yeah, they're the bad guys in the show. Yeah. What's up?
We just had a full moon. Popping the seeds.
I haven't, but I've actually been meaning to. Is it tonight or yesterday?
I think it was yesterday.
Oh.
I have a tendency to relate things to the overall, because everything's so, dude, everything in the world right now is so bizarre. And listening
I
to you,
remember what I was going to say.
go ahead.
Oh, now that I'm interrupting you now. Basically that how do I put this? I don't particularly just met with somebody that watches the show the other day, and unfortunately for me anyway, I guess not unfortunately, politics very, very obviously at some point. And I didn't really want to get into it because, there's just no reason to argue about politics these days, right? There's a huge divide currently, and we don't have to get into that, right? Because there's no really, that's not the issue that I'm trying to make.
It's just
But the
obvious.
point that I'm trying to make is that this about because we have two distinct sides in this country right now, and there's really nothing in the middle. Like there's really no middle anymore. Um, so whichever side you want to say this about, it probably applies to the other side. That when I look at the other side, I see an obvious charlatan and just a jerk off, basically. And for me, I would never in a fucking trillion years vote for that guy. Again, you could probably say that if you were on the other side. To me, though, when I look at that, you're really just looking at a symptom. So when you actually look at the guy, you can say, "Oh, he's the worst thing ever in the history of mankind." Probably not. Honestly, on the scale of assholes, he's actually somewhat small. There's been all kinds of people, Pol Pot and fucking Mao and Hitler and everybody else, and people we probably never even heard of that were even worse. But in the meantime, he's not amazing. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you step back for a second, you can say that most likely that the reason people vote for such a, in my opinion, obvious charlatan, and again, you could probably say it for if you were on the other side, is that the world is not going exactly the way people would like it to go. And so, for example, it's extremely expensive to buy a house. They say that basically middle class people can't buy a house anymore, which guess what actually means that they're not middle class anymore. Because to be middle class, you basically have to be able to afford a fucking house. So if
Mhm.
the middle class can't afford a house anymore, it means that we killed our fucking middle class. People don't talk about that nearly enough. Everything is going more expensive. And the worst part is that it's now widely acknowledged that the bulk of inflation was actually just oversized corporate profit taking. So in other words, it had nothing to do with the circumstances in the market or shipping challenges or COVID supply chain issues or what raw material shortages or all these different things that people talked about. No, it was just these companies that were like, fuck, we could charge $18 for a burger. That'd be great. And speaking of $18 burgers, all the different restaurants that you go to that you're like, oh fuck, how much does it cost to eat here? And you give up in a huff. I've felt that way myself. I go to the Chinese place that I used to go to, and it's $20 for a dish. I'm like, are you fucking on drugs? I used to spend 20 bucks for two dishes and maybe something else on the side. And this one dish for 20 bucks.
Are
Well,
you
guess what?
high?
It's not their fault. The shitty thing is that it's not their fault. The food distribution in America is owned by a triopoly, basically, of three companies. Cisco, I can't think of the fucking names right now. Anyway, people in the chat probably know. Anybody who's ever worked
PNG.
with and the other one is I can't think of the name of it right now. All shitty companies. All of them are shitty companies. Each one of their CEOs makes like $57 million a year. I'm not even joking. They all treat their employees like fucking trash. If you ever work for any of their, or if you ever talk to any of the employees, they fucking hate working there. On and on and on. Anyway, they're the only companies really that you can get any kind of food products for your restaurant from. I mean, if you how do I put this? Restaurant margins are super low already. So it's not like you can just go to Costco. I mean, you can go there for a few things, but for the most part, you have to go to these basically food service companies that will provide you the chicken and the cheese and the fucking napkins and the forks and everything else. And they jack the fuck out of their prices. And so unfortunately, all the restaurants had to jack up their prices because their costs went through the roof. And many of the restaurants that you'll talk to can't make enough money. That's one of the reasons why a lot of restaurants close down. They can't make enough money to fucking pay their bills and actually make a profit and survive because their food costs are so high that now it costs $20 for a burger. Their customer base has fallen off because how many people can afford a $20 burger? On and on and on. It's pretty fucked up. So yeah, the fact that our obvious shit stain like that can be elected comes from the fact that so many people are so demoralized basically by life. I guess that maybe that's an oversimplified word, but still people understand what I'm trying to say. And you can look around the world and you see the same issue. You can see the same issue in Germany. There's this party called AfD, Alternatives for Germany, super anti-immigrant and all this. Basically a kind of a fascist party, honestly, in many ways. Gaining popularity by the day. They just got a little bit bitch slapped the other day, but they're still at like 23, 24%. Solid party in a country that has. Oh, I just lose audio again. This fucking bullshit. Anyway.
No, your screen is frozen,
Oh, the
but your
audio.
audio is good. The
Something is going
thing
on
is,
with this.
by eliminating the middle class, it creates what? A larger separation. And again, I hate to keep repeating myself, but that's, if we keep it basic, maybe people will start to understand that because there is a separation, and what Fumador is actually talking about, right? Why? Why are they doing that? Why is it happening? I mean, and can we bring that gap back together in some form of unity? Dude, now see, I don't have answers to any of that.
I don't think any of us do.
Yeah. I have theory.
And that's exactly the way they want it.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
that I can agree with. So it brings it full circle back to what we do, because everything is connected, right? So you get the same behavioral patterns and the intricacies of what we're trying to do for when we're talking about breeding or growing or whatever it is, right? It all comes home. So it's interesting. That's why I like to get up here and chat with you, my friend, because you have an intellectual mind and you're able to bridge a lot of these concepts, which are actually
deep brain, bro.
But they're actually very simple concepts, right? Separation, unity. I mean, right? But
it's true.
Boy, they can sure make it complicated.
I tell you what, I think there was more unity in the cannabis community 25 years ago, 20 years ago than there is today.
Oh, later, Smash.
Same with America. I mean, you
have
can
a good
take
trip,
that.
Smash.
Later, Smash.
Later.
Enjoy.
He's gone.
Yeah. It's a weird spot to be in. I'm kind of excited in the fact that it is so novel. Every day it's like, whoa. I'm going, whoa, really? So I didn't used to do that. I mean, I guess you could take it in a bad way, but it's right in our face, so try to make the best of it.
No, the stuff is speeding up too. It's really crazy pants. They used to say the expression was there are days when there are years when months happen and months where years happen, or so. I can't remember the expression, but it feels like lately that we have months where years happen, basically with the world. We are rapidly changing into some new global order that probably won't be nice, actually, because if China, Russia, and Iran are all together, it doesn't really mean great things for the rest of the world. All super authoritarian, all super bleak places to live, of all super unfriendly on the world stage. Basically, they don't really foster a lot of good, frankly. That's maybe oversimplifying it, because certainly China has a space program that's quite advanced and everything, but man alive, like a lot of the shit that they do is just kind of bleak. What am I trying to say? AI is making leaps and bounds, which could be a wonderful thing. But unfortunately, I think a lot of us realize that AI is probably going to be sewn up by the rich people, and the rich people are going to use it to fuck all the poor people, basically, and turn everybody else poor. It's really disgusting to see that people with, I've said, a mental illness, specifically money hoarding, basically are allowed to run the rest of us into the ground, because that, to me, is what it is. Like they say that about uh, 200 executives at Exxon basically led us essentially to the global warming situation that we're in right now. It wasn't obviously just Exxon, but they were one of the biggest players, and they were certainly one of the biggest lobby organizations. They've apparently known about global warming since the 50s, but they've been basically aggressively lobbying against it, kind of like the tobacco industry. The tobacco industry knew that tobacco was bad for you a long time ago, and yet they basically lobbied against a doctor saying, here, I'm going to mute you again, Cap. There's way too much feedback. The tobacco industry lobbied against tobacco being seen as anything but healthy for the longest time. They used to have doctors of oh shit, who did we just lose? Green fingers?
Whoa.
That was fuck. I don't even remember what that robot used to say. I need to watch some of those old
Go
movies.
Johnny 5.
There we go.
5. Indian guy used to be the best.
Yeah. Dude, I haven't seen those movies in ages.
In the house, brains.
Fuck was I just saying? I lost my train of thought. We're talking about
Sorry.
something. Oh, AI and robotics and shit are happening at a breakneck pace. Google is apparently just about to release a A video AI basically that you can do up to 30-second full generative AI videos. So you'll basically be able, just like with photographs now, with video images, or I'm sorry, with images, with paintings, drawings, photographs, whatever. Mid-Journey, Dolly. Some of these AIs are incredibly fucking advanced now. Uh, Google is now talking about literally coming out with this apparently how do I put this? Not just garbage, not just basically like something with like, how do I put this? Because there's visual AIs already, like they have them at art museums and stuff. You can go and see them, but they're super primitive. This will be something that you can say, I want to see Bingus walking down the street juggling, and it'll basically be able to generate something at least approximating you juggling walking down the street. That's going to be a game changer for animation and game studios. It's going to probably lay off a lot of people from jobs. It's going to be a really big transition in the future, you know. AI is going to be a huge, huge technology in our futures. None of us are going to put it back in the fucking. We're not going to put the genie back in the bottle. And just today and yesterday, a lot of you guys probably heard, cheers, green fingers, that of all we were talking about Taylor Swift. Apparently, there's a bunch of deep fake porn of Taylor Swift on X. Go figure that Elon Musk would have a bunch of fucking deepfake porn on his goddamn platform. Anyway, now Microsoft is saying we need to urgently get regulations for this because it's so bad that Taylor Swift has unregulated deepfakes. And so what people are reading between the lines and saying, fuck, the only reason why Microsoft wants there to be regulations is so that Microsoft can dominate all of AI for the fucking foreseeable future of mankind. And certainly they do. They're a $3 trillion company now, partly actually because of their incredible success at having invested so wisely in OpenAI and left Google completely fucking flat-footed. Google was the dominant player. Apparently, everyone saw Google as like not even one of them, but the dominant player in AI. And now they're completely caught flat-footed by several different organizations. There's a big reason for these companies to basically lock the rest of us out, and specifically lock out open source AI, because we talked about this before on the show. If the only AI that you have access to is one that basically you have to pay for from OpenAI or Microsoft, whoever the fuck, and you are legally, for example, not allowed to create your own, that's going to mean that Microsoft and those guys can do whatever they want with AI and do all the incredible research and data collection and job replacement, everything else those things can. But we, as human beings, as normal human beings, won't be able to utilize that technology for our own benefit. It would be as if we didn't have access to automobiles. You know what I mean? If only the rich people had access to automobiles and the rest of us still had to use horses. It's going to be that bad. It might even be worse, honestly, on a
Hey, I wouldn't mind
technological
a
level.
horse.
I mean, I wouldn't mind a horse either, but the horse is not going to get you there like a car does. And you have to feed the horse. The horse can get sick, on and on and on and on. Uh, Obviously, it's not a perfect example because your car can break down too, of course. And there are circumstances where a horse is better. But 99 out of 100 times, you want a car instead of a fucking horse. And you're definitely going to be able to get there and haul more things and haul more people and everything else. You can't take 5 people on a horse. You can take 5 people in an average fucking car, though. So again, it's not a perfect metaphor, but still,
You
AI
know,
is gonna
all the
big
things
deal.
that you're alluding to, which is really truth, and it's happening right before our eyes. So there's really not a whole lot of argument. But these guys at the top of this little thing that we're talking about um, have an expectation and a goal that they're trying to reach, which is incorporating AI into humanity and creating immortal aspect to the reality of this third dimension for them, not for us. Okay, so we get to be the guinea pigs to make all that happen. The thing that they do not look at, and most people do not look at, is humanity, the human being, the vehicle itself, the DNA that's within it, and the fact that we're on a planet that's being hurled towards the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And when you go to bed at night and you wake up in the morning, we've traveled 12 million miles further in that direction. Thus, the energy that's attacking us is different. And so the thing that's going to change all this is us, in my opinion, as we upgrade this meat suit that we're all in, all right, through the vibrations of what's coming through the galaxy that we're moving within, we'll be the ones that'll shut them down because they won't be able to do what they want to do. But we will be able to do it. we will recognize perhaps some form of immortality in some way to attach to it. So I think that the fact that they're not counting on that is the fact that we are the ones. You've heard the saying where they say, "You're the person that you're waiting for." Who's breathing into the mic? My God.
Yeah, who's the heavy
Who the fuck is
breather?
huffing and puffing? Is that you,
Dude,
hardcore?
dude. All right, he muted himself.
Oh, thankfully,
Sorry, I
that
just
was a
ran a
genius.
marathon.
Dude, I got chills on my spine with that. I was like, Jesus, somebody must. But we're the missing link to this whole puzzle. And I can't wait to see it over the next few generations. Of course, we're all going to be dead, but I think in the future it's going to be more like a Star Trek type of situation where the money system is not, isn't controlling and separating us. It's our deeds and the things that we know inside each of us that are not making the unity for it. So that's just my humble opinion, despite all the humor that's being attached to it. But that's the reality. If only we could live long enough to see something like that. Because if you study genetics and DNA, it evolves. It's not a latent thing. It's constantly evolving through energy and vibration. And those are just some hard facts that we just don't look at. So anyway, that's my take.
There's a theory that I don't know why this reminds me of that, but there's a theory that life evolved not on any specific planet, but rather that it evolved in. And I realize this sounds strange, but again, it's more of a hypothesis, really, because in science a theory means something else. It is a hypothesis basically that life evolved about 200 or 300 million years after the Big Bang in the primordial soup, basically, that was expanding at that time. It was basically just a bunch of helium and random other gases, basically mostly lighter gases, because there wasn't time really to start forming heavier elements in star fusion and everything else. It was literally a couple 100 million years after the Big Bang. But surprisingly, it was about 100, they say somewhere between 50 and 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So like a couple 100 million years after the Big Bang, if you basically were like a fucking protozoa swimming around essentially in the freaking stardust, you could potentially evolve. I mean, not a protozoa. I mean, I'm being stupid right now. But basically, they're saying that life may well have evolved there and seeded the entire universe. And now as the universe expands, we could well have different species, but basically the same original precursors to life basically on everywhere, Jupiter and the fucking asteroid belt, and maybe in the sun. Who knows where things could freaking evolve if they have enough time. Interesting thought, right? That potentially life is that old. One of the reasons why is oh, now hold on, I'm forgetting exactly what it is. It's because of how complex our genes are. I think I'm getting this right. If anybody in the chat, Dr. DGC Jeff, or somebody knows this better, please chime in. Our genes are apparently too complex. Oh, I'm forgetting this right now. Yeah, I'm going to explain it poorly. Basically, the bad version of it is that our genes are so complex that if we extrapolate back based on the complexity of our genes, I'm explaining this very badly, by the way. If we extrapolate back, the time backwards extends basically to the beginning, not the beginning of the Earth, but the beginning of the universe. Basically, that's how long, or the beginning of the beginning of our universe, basically 13, 14, 15 billion years ago. Basically, because the chromosomes essentially double, I guess, every few 100 million years. Fuck, I'm explaining this as badly as possibly can be.
You're on target. You're on target.
Are you
No, you're on
picking
target.
up what I'm putting down? All right,
No,
let me see if I can find more about this.
You're on target. The DNA, the genome. All right, you just look at how we breed. I mean, this is where I started gaining when I started doing these huge pheno hunts and stuff. I started thinking, wait a minute, but that's the genome, the DNA, the characteristics have a trail back to the beginning. And that is, I think, in a quantum essence or a quantum science, that's where we're going to discover that each human actually has a spark or like a soul of the originating spark that created all of everything. And so in essence, everything is one in unity. I mean, it's hard to imagine that because we're talking about such a grand scale of things, but it brings things into perspective, at least for me. Biggest Barry.
I'm asking an AI, see if they can give me some freaking input on this because I realize it's a weird fucking question. Nope, the AI doesn't.
I don't want you to.
The AI is shitting all over this. The AI is like, I haven't come across this theory at all, and I say that I think it doesn't sound plausible. The idea that chromosomes are too complex for the time life has been on Earth doesn't really line up. Anyway, basically, this is not made up. I saw it on a couple of legit channels, PBS Space Time, a couple other ones. Again, it's just a theory. It's not like a hard and fast whatever. Because fuck, how would we ever test this? Like we'd have to go back in time probably.
Exactly.
I guess we could test it if we'd have to literally have spaceships. If there were life on other planets that in some way resembled our own, then we would know that there was a common ancestor.
There are. There
are what?
Other planets just like this.
You're talking about
trying to figure out the same thing.
You're talking about the truth, though, Fumi. You're touching on the truth of the matter, which a lot of people, because we are so separated over what billions of years or millions of years or such a grand amount of generational time, that we don't want to accept. We like our little separate little tombs that we have. I mean, we can describe the prism, just, like the bars, everything, but what do we do, right? And many times you have to go inside to find the truth. So, in my opinion, again, all my opinion, laugh, make fun if you will, but it's, the more you watch, especially the quantum discoveries, you're going to see what you're talking about, what I'm mentioning, pretty much closer to the truth than most things that they try to.
Oh, the world is the universe is so bizarre. Even when you know you only have one electron, when you look at it really close, it'll basically create a wave interference pattern as if it's going through the two. I'm describing this poorly too. The electron, fuck, I can't talk anymore. Basically, electrons at a quantum level don't behave like individual particles. They behave like a multiple particle in multiple places at one time. And even if you know you only have one electron, it pretends to be going through two places at the same time. Okay, I think
there's a
when
test.
I bang your mom in the what's the spot between the ass and the
the taint.
The taint.
Yeah, when you hit them there, then you get a spray pattern in the behind her.
Have you heard of the dual slot test? I mean, this is
your mama likes the dual slot test.
All right, where they have a piece of cardboard that they've got two slots in. Okay, now listen, two slots in a piece of cardboard. They shine a light on it, right? And they put a camera there. They walk away. The light has a spatter pattern when they're not there. Then they come and look at it. The light goes through the slots and creates two separate lines when someone's watching it. Okay, this is a scientific test that's proven many years ago, all right, on the quantum field, how it works. The camera doesn't lie. It's just sit there going, okay. And you walk away. So your essence, your vibration, your beingness is what directs the light through those two slots, because somehow you imagine that's the way it should be. You walk away, boom, light doesn't know what to do, has no direction. What is light?
Dead cat.
Hardcore, you need to keep doing your AI.
There's a theory also that I just read about this the other day. I wish I could remember where I read about it. That basically people were talking about consciousness and what the nature of consciousness is, and people are really struggling to figure out, including with AI, what is the actual nature. In fact, I think what I was reading about was in the context of AI, and they were saying how AI researchers, in fact, that's what it was. AI researchers are struggling to figure out what consciousness really is, what AGI actually will be, what artificial general intelligence will actually be, or how to get there. Because consciousness is so elusive as a concept. We really can't really figure out what it is or where it comes from. And even though brain researchers are able to figure out quite a bit, including actually basically reading people's thoughts now, literally visually reading people's thoughts, they can do that now. They still can't figure out how consciousness comes forward.
That's the research. That's the research that's going to unequivocally prove that each one of us has a soul.
Well, I don't know about, I mean, I suppose perhaps because I guess the open-ended question is they were saying that it's possible that everything on some level has some form of consciousness. And that sounds as hippy-dippy as you can possibly get, but that's as good of an explanation as any right now. I mean, maybe they will nail it down a little bit more than that everything is conscious, but still,
It's
it's an
all
interesting
electric.
thought. Well, no, it's an interesting thought that a parking meter and a flower and
A
a
flower.
bumblebee and whatever else and you and your dog
Every
all could
cell.
have some different versions of consciousness. Uh, interesting philosophically. What can you say? You know, like you can't really argue with it. You can, I mean, I suppose you could argue with it, but you can't argue with it convincingly. You can't shut it down convincingly, I guess is what I'm trying to say. An interesting thought.
Fucker.
Have you heard a lot of? I know I've mentioned before, but of Michael Levin
Heard the
from
name.
Tufts University.
Uh,
He's at the forefront of like a dozen different technologies that are gonna fucking change the world within the next decade.
like what?
Like mainly like one of them is like limb and organ regeneration, or like he's quoted as saying that in 10 years from now, people can choose to have two heads and tentacles if they want, and we're gonna have to deal with that fact.
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't thought
I
of
mean,
that
if at
one.
some point Elon Musk or somebody decides to start genetically hacking their children, it's going to get weird real fast. You know what I mean?
I can't.
Wow. Talk about novelty.
Seriously.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, every time I go to Michael Levin, it just goes to some, I don't know, is he a photographer? It goes to some apparently pretty good photographer.
Levin.
Levin. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Levin Tufts.
You're pretty good at that AI stuff, hardcore.
Biologist.
Thank you.
Huh? Dude was born in Moscow.
Ooh, bacteria.
He's an American and synthetic biologist at Tufts University, where he's the Vannevar
But yeah, he's done
Bush.
so much work, and then work with like making
What a name. Vannevar
xenobots
Bush.
and anthrobots and like.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah,
like he like they pretty much from the way he makes it sound like what we have we're at the edge of being able to solve everything like aging and cancer and fucking you're missing a leg, okay, you want 3 legs, sure. I don't know, it's weird. They're fucking
The spare.
I mean, like they're growing like they
French up one.
and it's all about like how cells communicate with cells around them and shit, and like they can put cells on for an eye on the back of a frog, and it'll connect to the spinal cord and be able to see through that eye without having to actually. Like, it's I don't know. It's crazy.
It's kind of like the video I watched yesterday, where the guy took a bar of gold, yellow gold, broke it down through a chemical process. He ended up mixing it with, I think, 15% aluminum, 17% aluminum. And during this process of breaking this all down and then re-solidifying it, to break the slag off of the outside, the gold turned purple. Now, when you take the slag and you like scrape it across the sandpaper, it's a silver metallic. But once you anneal it at like 600 degrees for a while, it actually turns the gold purple. And then if you want your gold back to being gold color, you drop it in acid again and it changes it back. They've turned gold black and one other color. I can't remember what they said, but I really like the purple one.
Have you ever seen, there's a guy on YouTube called Red Nile, and he's always taking like everyday items and extracting like gold out of them, or like just doing just crazy shit with
Oh, I've seen a couple of the guys' channels like years ago though. I think he's got like a really old channel, right?
Yeah, Red Nile, I think, is the one that I'll see what comes up.
There's like a shocking amount of gold and all kinds of random like telephone equipment and all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Well, this guy does like experiments, like turning paint thinner into cherry soda.
What?
It's got 6.3 million views. Or like,
How many deaths?
so here he shows you how to make boroform, only it doesn't with the C.
Okay, we're live.
Oh, did
Fucking
are we still live?
Yeah,
Oh, by
yeah.
the way, we should probably switch channels.
Well, there's
Now's a good time to switch channels. So, folks in the panel, I don't think anything's going to change. But I think what we should do now, I think we should end the live stream here on Fumidoro and then basically go over to Fumes of Gold. Does that sound good with you guys?
that.
All right.
Sounds great.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let me post a link for you so that you don't lose any of the fine content.
You're
And
gonna
make
post a
sure
link,
when
link
you
to
go
the
over there to hit
Uh,
the subscription button for that channel too,
That's right.
please.
Thank you very
And hit the
much.
thumbs up again one time.
That's it. And if you hate the show forever, hit it down twice.
Twice.
That way you make it count.
Uh,
All right, here we go. No, not just YouTube. I want my
yeah,
channel.
make sure you hit it twice.
Here we go. View my channel.
well, there we go.
Where's that?
More about this channel.
You're
There we
gonna
go.
put the
Fumes
link
of Gold.
in the thing? In the
I
chat
sure
room?
am. That's what I'm
Gotta
working
be.
on. Boom. There we go. I should actually have it on my notes here so I can just post it next time, but this way works too. There we go. Fumes of Gold,
Okay.
ladies and germs. That's the channel right there. We're going to be there literally in probably 30 seconds or a minute or something. This panel won't even end. I'll just basically end the live stream and then just start up a new live stream pretty much. So folks, subscribe to that channel. Please do subscribe to that channel because that's the only way it'll grow and stuff is when you guys basically watch it. Tell your friends about it too, of course. What I'm going to try to do, even when the bigger channel comes back, which I hope it does soon, I'm going to try to do the main show and then the after party. That way, every single night, if we get shut down, at least we have another channel so that the troll really can't fuck us, completely. You know what I mean? So that we just take the power away from those people, frankly. So folks, go to fumesofgold.com. Thank you very much, Magoofer. Thank you for subbing to that. We're going to end this live stream here, as I say on every show normally, but I'm going to say it on the other show here in a second. Be kind, be decent, be gentle, don't be fucking pricks, dicks, or lunatics. We'll see you guys in about 5